folks, Puffin here. Another spell, Antifa spell, to get rid of fascism. Get the light of truth going. With the candle of magic and see if it's going to burn. Got a different bowl this time, so we're going to use a different target for the spell. You can't hardly see it, but it's a red and blue bowl. It's going to be a bowl to represent social media. It's not even a very well designed bowl, so it's going to be hard to scrape. But red and blue for YouTube and Facebook to represent social media. And we're going to clean the fascism out of YouTube and Facebook and all internet social media using a magic spell. And this is it. So expect to see some changes on Facebook and YouTube. It might take a little while for the changes to take effect, but today is July 14th, 2021. I'm doing this spell, and as this spell will be hard to clean, it's probably not going to come clean this time, but maybe. I had a dream about cleaning out a bowl in which it all came out at once. And this could be that one, but I doubt it because this is old. I just found it. It hasn't been scraped in a long time. And much like YouTube, Facebook, no one's cleaned them up in a long time. But they need cleaning. Yeah, they kicked Trump off. Yeah, whatever. That's good. It's a good thing to have kicked Trump off. Could have kicked him off a long time ago. But you haven't kicked off all his trolls. I mean, I'm not even going to get into how bad Facebook is, because Facebook basically is responsible for Trump. Facebook is basically how Putin got Trump, Bolsonaro, and Modi elected. And they're the countries, India, USA, and Brazil, are the countries that had the worst Trump virus. So it's key. Facebook has been key to the Trump virus genocide. Facebook was also key to the Myanmar genocide. I don't want to get into the details, but Facebook needs to be nationalized. Zuckerberg needs to be arrested for treason, genocide, terrorism, and seize all his property, which means you nationalize Facebook. You get every country gets their own Facebook, and then maybe you have like a UN Facebook or some type of oversight Facebook that everybody's on or something like that. But anyway, you take that platform because they used it for genocide, fascism in many, many countries, including USA, Brazil, Myanmar. I don't even know all the countries they've used it for fascism. I'm getting into some really crusty stuff in here. Some of that is old stuff, but it hasn't been dealt with. It hasn't been removed. And we're going to do that. We're going to do that for Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook as much because I get banned all the time. So, because it's censored. I mean, I'm being censored because they're fascist and they're afraid of leftists. They're afraid of the truth. I've been on YouTube, but I've seen plenty of comments from the same trolls. The Trumpers and trolls. Some Trumpers, I guess, are legitimate Trumpers who believe these things, and some people are just trolls who are just being put out there to say these things. And we're going to get rid of all of them. I mean, we're going to get rid of trolling. We're going to end that. And we could just have something that pops up on your phone to let you know when somebody's a troll. So you don't have to take anything they say seriously ever. Like a content warning for people's profiles. This is the thing. We're getting rid of fascists by labeling them, by naming them, by shaming them, by exposing them, by pulling them out, and in this case, setting them on fire. Setting this resin that's meant to represent the fascism on fire to destroy it. to remove it, to cleanse it from our system and our lives. So, in this case, with the goal representing social media, YouTube, and Facebook, we want to see just aggressive removal of all these troll accounts. Like anytime anybody starts arguing with me, trolling me on YouTube, their accounts never have any videos. They're often new accounts, just made that day or made a month ago or something. It's just troll accounts, just not real people. Like, we shouldn't really, any of us, have to put up with that. You could say it's useful for them to identify who they are, but if they're just trolls always changing their identities anyway, and you're not actually using this information to track them and stop them, then just identify them early and go ahead and delete their accounts. Because, why bother? But, I'm not going to tell them what to do. Again, this is magic. This is magic to expose and destroy fascism that exists in YouTube and Facebook. Now, Facebook, I know the fascism is internal. I know it's like Zuckerberg is a Nazi. Like, that's what it is. He is personally a Nazi, very well aware of how his platform is being used to kill and elect fascist tyrants around the world. He can play stupid, but he's very aware of it. Like, I saw some people on a video, like, being interviewed for a book they wrote about fascism on Facebook, and saying that it's like they're playing whack-a-mole and they can't get to all of them. No, that's not it at all. They're creating most of it. Facebook creates most of the fascism with fake accounts and enabling all this, like, Russian trolls and stuff, or Putin paid trolls, wherever they're operating from. And like, it's Facebook's plan. YouTube, I think, is mostly overrun by trolls. Like, most of the thing I've seen on YouTube is a user's using it, and because so many of them are fascist, or because this fascist network is on YouTube, they have an influence, an undue influence, of course, but they really don't even need to have any influence. Like, they just need to be tracked because they're fascist. They're terrorists. Their words are supporting terrorism. They're, in this case, of denying the virus, or trying to tell people not to wear masks or not to get vaccines or whatever. They're prolonging a pandemic, which is killing more people. They are killing people with these words, and it's terrorist. And they're doing it, to please Putin and Trump and the KKK and the KGB or whatever. No one's going to miss this stuff when it's gone. So we can just kind of get rid of it, or we can start speaking out strongly against it. And again, I don't really feel like I have to say what we're going to do, because this is magic to get rid of it. I'm mentioning some of the things that are examples, like how I get censored a lot on YouTube. I'll be in a live chat, or I won't be able to participate in the live chat because I've been completely banned by moderators, depending on the situation, depending on which channel it is. Or there's some that are a little bit more open, where I'll get back on there, but they'll delete anything I say that is longer than one word. Like, anytime I type a whole sentence, they'll delete it, probably by reporting it. Somebody's like watching every single thing I say to report it. Or and I had an example that I mentioned in my last video about going on the Young Turks and having somebody object to me calling me a troll and then saying that I curse people, which I do on the Earth TV live chat, because there's a bunch of Trumper terrorists in there and I curse them. But I don't do that on the Young Turks channel. So for him to say, oh, you have to stop cursing people, just shows that this is a troll who's been following me from one channel to the next, or paying attention to me out of the thousands of people on, or hundreds of people anyway, on that Young Turks channel. On the Earth TV live chat, there only seems to be about a dozen or 5 or something. No matter what it says, it's about how many are ever talking. But the majority are Trump trolls. There's apparently a few Americans in there that'll make comments, or I don't know what they are, the other people who make comments. Sometimes they won't talk to you, so they seem like they're just bots. But anyway, I've gotten attention a lot of these Trump trolls. Maybe some of you are watching my video now. We can save you from being a Trump troll. We can save you from being a Putin puppet. We can save you from fascism, Nazism, white supremacy. We can save you from all of that. Like, I'm on the Memology channel. It's a terrible fascist channel. It's very popular, and I leave comments on there, and I haven't gotten much of their attention yet. But sometimes when I leave comments, I feel like if I catch this channel early enough and leave some comments on there, the censorship that usually goes against me will keep this from being seen. So, I use their tools against them. I get censored a lot, so I use that censorship to stop things I don't like. I did it on Facebook once during the Joe Biden campaign. I commented on one of his videos, and it just stopped being seen by anybody. Because I've got the, shadow ban censorship on my accounts. So, which is one reason, consider yourself lucky to see these videos if you found my channel on YouTube. I don't know how much it's possibly suppressed. I'm not going to suggest it is. I mean, a lot of my stuff's complete crap, or, I wouldn't expect lots of people to like it at this current time. So I'm not surprised I don't have a lot of views in 2021, or at this time. But it could also be partly because it's suppressed. But I'm not going to complain about that. I'm going to complain about things on YouTube that I know and see directly, such as people using, a bunch of terrorist comments or KKK propaganda in these live chats. And while they're just left to do that constantly, if I ever say anything critical of it, I'm the one who gets banned. So, that just shows that live chats such as Earth TV are terrorist, KKK, Trumper stuff. Now, this Young Turks, I feel like they've always been, presenting some let's appeal to leftists, but let's actually be fascists. And that's always been their thing. But, they still keep that appeal to leftists. They still keep this kind of leftist audience. But when I'm on there today and I see all these people making transphobic comments, but when I just say something like Foxen, Foxzen, the name of my band, because I can only type one word for some reason, I didn't even know why I was being censored there, but it could just be troll reporting anything else I say. I just type Foxen and they warn me and then ban me, put me on timeout, and, make it where I can't comment in the YouTube and in the YouTube live stream of the Young Turks, TYT. But then I'm still seeing these transphobic people leave their transphobic comments, and they're not getting warned, and they're not getting censored, and they're not getting banned. So I'm like, wait, and then I see people leaving comments directly about me. And I'm like, no, you guys are trolls who are afraid of what I have to say. So, I'll bring it here. I'll do it in another video, because I think I've gotten about all I can out of this right now. And like I said, it's just a terrible bowl for cleaning. It's not very well designed. It's got these tiny little holes. But I wanted to go ahead and do one for YouTube and Facebook and put some magic out there to end the fascism on those platforms. And I'll come back to it because there's more in here to be dealt with. But I wanted to go ahead and start it now, so be looking for some changes on those platforms. Hopefully be looking for the arrest of Mark Zuckerberg. Major changes like takedown of the platform, nationalize Facebook. See my Facebook group, Nationalize Facebook. This has been an ad for Facebook groups. Nationalize Facebook, save America from the fascism of a platform that's been completely dedicated to Putin and Trump's vision or whatever nightmare of destroying our democracy, killing over 600,000 people with Trump fires, and who knows how many thousands more with guns and terrorism. Just inspiring and egging on the most terrorist elements of our society, and trying to take over our country with force, and then trying to excuse it and get away with it. Like, all of that is inexcusable and has not been fully held to account. So, but the part about Facebook, the part that Facebook played, has certainly not been addressed. And when it is addressed, yeah, we need to seize that company. We can't let that company pick our rulers based on what Putin wants. And we can't let them put out these fake accounts that are putting out information that's getting people killed. We have to stop that. they're not going to stop it on their own. And they're not going to stop it because of some type of regulation. You just nationalize it. You show people why nationalization is a good thing to have in some circumstances. And you nationalize Facebook. You say, you guys took it too far. We're taking it back. This is just going to be something a service we provide for the people. Government provides it, and governments of every country can provide it for their people in the way they see fit. Then you can have an oversight. That's nationalized Facebook. So you get every country interested in divvying it up, but you don't really need to like all gang up against Facebook or something. You just need to arrest Mark Zuckerberg for the crimes he's already committed. Like, you don't have to wait for him to do something else or anything. Just have to look at what he's actually done and just, get the internal records of Facebook. You don't have to listen to my word for it or look at my videos about being censored there. Although I did notice that I have a folder where I have 95 reports I did on racist Trumpers and Facebook's response. So I'm probably going to make a video for each of those 95 reports and probably end up showing that Facebook is saying this racism and this terrorism and this stuff, as long as it's for Trump, is okay. Which I think proves, especially when you put that side by side with how many times they banned me for saying arrest Trump for treason or whatever, or for sharing a meme of Trump's face as a shit stain, which they banned me immediately for that. I got a 30-day ban, and the picture was immediately removed before anyone could even see it. So it wasn't reported. It was someone that Facebook had an algorithm to look for that picture and banned me and removed it because it was insulting to Trump. And just think about that. How much Trump's in their pocket. Or think about how when Trump was running a Nazi ad, people told Facebook, get this Nazi ad of Trump's with a Nazi symbol on it off of Facebook, and it took a week to get them to archive it. You can still see it. It's still on there, archived. It took them a week to move it off of, like, whatever, regular rotation. Because Zuckerberg's a Nazi. Like, it's time to call these people what it are. It's insulting to dogs. It's insulting to clowns. It's insulting to any other person to call them anything other than what they are, which is Nazi. And it's time to, treat them like that. You don't want these things to continue. There's a reason why that's been the worst word you can have for people, because it's the worst kind of people, and we need that word for them, and we need to call them what they are. So Facebook is Nazi, Zuckerberg is a Nazi, and it needs to be stopped. I guess Google's running YouTube. I don't know that that's a Nazi company. I don't have that. I've got that information about Facebook. I don't have that information about Google. I don't have that information about about YouTube. But I do see a bunch of these Nazi fascist practices going on YouTube, and that needs to be cleaned up. And that's why I addressed this debate. Ending fascism and about ending war, people worry, hey, that's going to be my job. I'm a soldier or whatever. That's going to be the military. We need organized people, fast, ready response for like climate change, for changing things to green energy, for lots of reasons, for liberating people in different ways. We need all that. So those jobs aren't going to go away. We're just going to change the war machine into a peace machine and a green machine and a good machine. And we're going to do that same type of thing to Facebook and YouTube. So I'm going to come back for this spell later, and I can get at this bow a little bit better. But thanks for watching, sharing, commenting, contributing to this spell, to this series of spells to end fascism. And we'll have other targets or other focuses coming up, because this bowl is just literally the worst for trying to clean. I don't know if you can see how small these holes are, but it's miserable. Don't get bowls with small holes, because you have to clean them out eventually, and how are you going to do that? I guess I'll need to soak this one, but I don't know if I'll make a video about it soaking. So for now, let's just put some faith and hope into having made some major changes to end the fascism in all of social media. My experience is Facebook and YouTube. Obviously, there are some other platforms where there's a lot of free reign for chat for these terrorists and trolls, and even in gaming platforms, there's various free reigns for chat for these terrorists and trolls, and there should be free speech. But as far as like people monitoring it or being able to do something about it or paying attention to the terrorists and or censoring the people who are critical of the terrorists, and how that goes down and what that ends up doing to your culture and population, it's making people terrorists. These are becoming terrorist recruitment, or have always been terrorist recruitment mechanisms that need to be stopped so that we have less terrorists. It's just, it's a public interest, public health issue at this point. So, let's clean up social media. Since YouTube and Facebook are some big ones, like if we can just nationalize Facebook, we're off to a great start there. Because we can just let it be fair. Just let people actually talk. Not Trump, not terrorists, but, not people who are, actively pursuing terrorism. But, when you actually let everybody talk, we're going to get the best ideas out there and have, a well-educated population to run a good democracy, which Facebook could be, instrumental and useful in that. But right now, no, it's being used really solely to promote fascism. And if you've seen what they do with their groups, how they monitor and, purge actual activists or whatever from their groups, and make fake groups, make fake leaders, all this stuff, do everything they can to control and distract in the conversation. You know how it is if you've been paying attention to that kind of stuff, and especially to the way they censor. So let's get rid of censorship. Let's get more free speech and more accountability for people who use that free speech for really non-free speech reasons, such as promoting terrorism, lying about public health, and being fascists, recruiting other fascists. This is how we're going to stop it every way we can. This way I'm trying to use is magic. So, oh man, and this thing got completely clogged in the last. So when I thought I was going to wrap this up, I'm going to at least try to get one more air path. And one day, I'll get this thing cleaned. Just like one day we will get these social media companies cleaned of terrorism. Got an airflow again. Thanks for watching and sharing. See y'all soon.